Have you ever felt like the modern education system just deserves a complete cosmic level takedown? Well, somebody went and wrote it. Today, we're going to break down this absolutely brilliant piece of satire called The Official Roast of Aphaltician Academia. It basically puts all the broken promises and crushing student debt on trial in a giant galactic stadium. Trust me, it's as sharp as it is absurd. And boom, we are dropped straight into the chaos with this booming declaration from one of the roast's hosts, a figure called Ariel the Prophet. And right there, that sets the tone. This isn't going to be some polite discussion. Oh no, this is a full-blown intervention on a galactic scale. So where does all this go down? Well, not in some stuffy old lecture hall, that's for sure. Nope, we are in a massive cosmic arena. The source material calls it the Galactic Stadium, and its huge scale is just the perfect backdrop for an absolutely epic takedown of academia. And the scene itself? Oh, it's just a masterclass in satire. You've got the accused, who we'll meet in a sec, literally shackled by chains made of student loan bills. And the audience? Get this, it's a mix of aliens, ghosts, and what the text calls the surviving members of millennials and Gen Z. I mean, what a perfect visual for who feels like they've been victimized by this whole system.
So who exactly is on trial here? Let's meet our villains. First up, we've got Dean Detbeard, the guy who represents charging you a fortune for, basic skills. Then there's Professor Beige, who is the embodiment of every useless, outdated lecture you've ever had to sit through. We've also got Chancellor Cash Grab, the symbol of education run like a for-profit business. And finally, Coach Resume Black Hole, who stands for all those broken promises about landing a great job. Each one is just this perfect, hilarious caricature of a very, very real frustration.
And who introduces these characters? None other than the ghost of Benjamin Franklin, of course, a symbol of actual, practical knowledge. And his words just frame this entire roast perfectly. He calls the system a 12-year obedience factory, followed by a 4-year financial slaughterhouse. It's a brutal line, but man, it is a powerful summary of the main accusation. All right, so let's get into the first round of the roast. The first thing on the chopping block, the curriculum itself. The stuff students are actually paying all this money to learn. The first jab comes from a millennial survivor. They point out the absolute uselessness of memorizing random facts like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and then they deliver that punchline. It just perfectly captures that feeling that the whole system values trivia over any kind of real wisdom. And then a Gen Z survivor steps up, and the critique gets even sharper. This testimony draws such a clear line between high-minded academic knowledge and the practical skills you actually need to, live. It's that classic debate of theory versus reality just cranked up to a whole new level. And this right here is the final word on the curriculum. Our galactic judge, who, by the way, is a floating brain in a jar, delivers this absolutely hilarious final blow. The ridiculous comparison to terraforming moons just hammers home the complete failure to teach even the most basic life skills, like budgeting. What a fantastic punchline. Okay, so after just demolishing the curriculum, the roast pivots. Round 2 shifts the focus to the real-world consequences for the graduates, or, as the source calls them, the followers. So they flash these images up on the stadium's jumbotron, and they are grimly hilarious. You see graduates crying in their sensible cars. You see them eating instant ramen while staring at their debt statements. And you see them reposting those desperate hustle quotes. It's basically every meme about post-grad disillusionment rolled into one heartbreaking, funny montage. The ghost of Benjamin Franklin comes back to really drive the point home with this incredibly stark comparison. It's the whole journey of youthful idealism getting completely crushed by financial reality, laid out in 2 simple, devastating sentences. And the real insight here is that this journey from ambition to desperation is being framed as the main thing the system actually produces. And this is where Ariel the Prophet comes back in with just a fiery rebuttal. This line directly takes on all those stereotypes that get thrown at younger people who criticize the system. It reframes their anger not as laziness, but as a totally sane reaction to a completely insane situation. It's a really powerful moment in the roast. And all this testimony and evidence, it all leads to the grand finale. It's time for the sentencing. The final indictments are about to be handed down to our 4 villains. And the punishments? Oh, they are a masterclass in poetic justice. Let's just break down why they're so perfect. Dean Detbeard, who got rich off student loans, now has to physically carry that weight forever. Professor Beige, who was obsessed with pointless rules, now has to teach APA format to the only audience that won't argue back: cockroaches. Chancellor Cash Grab, who treated students like walking ATMs, literally becomes a donation himself and gets launched into the sun. And Coach Resume Black Hole, he gets to experience the same soul-crushing job hunt he pushed on everyone else for all eternity. It's just perfect karma.
So how does it all end? With the sound of a giant galactic toilet, flushing our villains away for good. The text says the whole stadium erupts in laughter and catharsis. And that word, catharsis, is really the key. The whole point of this giant cosmic joke is to give everyone a shared release for all that frustration. So, okay, let's step back for a second. Cosmic toilets and ghostly founding fathers aside, what is this satire really trying to say? What's the core message here?
Well, at the end of the day, this whole wild story is really just a vehicle for some very real and very common anxieties. The insane cost of tuition, the constant debate over whether the curriculum is even relevant, and that sinking feeling that a degree just doesn't promise a stable future anymore. These are huge concerns for a lot of people. The satire just uses this extreme, funny lens to make them totally impossible to ignore.
And that's where this whole thing leaves us. This piece of satire does an absolutely brilliant job of roasting the problem, right? It gives a voice to all that frustration. But it also leaves us hanging with the biggest, most important question of all. If this is the problem, what on Earth, or anywhere else in the galaxy for that matter, does a solution even look like?